All right, I got another one for you guys. This comes from Bounding Into Comics. Capcom declares that simply translating games developed under Japanese norms can end up hurting users. So more censorship coming from Capcom. This time in relation to translating and localization, which seems to be a popular avenue for this kind of censorship. It seems like that is the avenue everybody seems to be using now to change games from their originally intended purpose to appease the round eye, as it were, appease to us Western audiences. But there was some interesting stuff in this article, and I wanted to point out one thing about how Capcom does things in relation to localization and translation. They said down here, Capcom games are enjoyed worldwide, they explained. In the fiscal year ending March 2022, the percentage of home video games sold overseas was 83.1%. Naturally, translation, localization of video games developed in Japanese is required so that game players around the world can enjoy them. The volume and importance of localization is increasing year after year due to factors such as improvements in game machine performance, support for online gameplay, and an increase in the number of languages accompanying a more diversified global audience. Capcom continued. As such, Capcom's localization team is involved in game development from the initial stages. So their localization folks are actually there from day one. So the game is effectively developed in parallel across multiple languages to ensure that it can be released in all these different languages, because obviously leaving 83.1% of the money on the table would be a bad thing. So yeah, they release it across the board day one, and they make sure that localization is tight, and that's understandable. What isn't very understandable is that further down here they actually kind of released the bomb here. So, concluding their statement with a disappointing bombshell, Capcom happily informed potential business partners. What is more, depending on the country, simply translating games developed under Japanese norms can end up hurting users and unexpectedly due to historical, religious, or cultural differences. As such, we focus on employing staff around the world to culturalize games so that they can be enjoyed by all, regardless of locale. So, effectively, they are censoring their own Japanese cultural norms to appease the the woke crowd. That's predominantly who gets offended by these kind of things. And yet again, I mean, this language is very telling because, when I was young, they used to tell us sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. And yet here it is. Words are hurting these people because of historical, religious, or cultural differences. And this is the thing. This is why these things are being done, is because we have normalized the notion that words are violence. And because words are violence, they have to censor these things, because otherwise they'd be hurting people. And that would be bad for the bottom line of their business. I don't know. We're just so far down that road that some of these companies are so lost in this that I don't know. I don't know how they're going to get out of it. But honestly, I mean, I wish Capcom would face the music and see just how ridiculous this is, because people play Japanese games because they're Japanese games. They want the Japanese cultural influence. They want the perspective of these Japanese studios to be in their games, and that's what they really appreciate about them, is that they are made by Japanese people for Japanese people and translated for the English-speaking world, or whatever language you happen to speak in your area. So I mean, that's something that seems to be lost on all of these Japanese studios that are doing this, is that we don't want an Americanized version. We want the Japanese version. I mean, it's no secret that I am not a fan of these more risque, very, risque anime games or hentai games or what have you, but I would never want them to be censored down to, dull as dishwater. People that enjoy them, hey, more power to you. It is not my thing. It never will be my thing, but I'm not going to go around trying to censor them just because they don't, they offend my senses or what have you. But I mean, I guess I'm the exception to the rule in that, because there's an awful lot of people that do think these games should be changed in order to meet their approval. And I don't believe that, even when I don't take kindly to the game, even if I don't like those kind of games, if I don't like elements of those games, that's my problem, not their problem. And you know, if I don't like it, I don't play it. If I don't want my kids, I don't have kids, but if I had kids, if I had kids and I didn't want them playing it, I'd make sure that they didn't play it. And I would, you know, be a good parent. I mean, because that it seems to be the other avenue that this goes down is, oh well, you shouldn't have this out there for kids, and yet some things are okay for kids and other things are not. It seems like that line is very, very specifically drawn towards a certain group of people's political and cultural perspective. Strange how that happens too. Anyway, yeah, I mean, this is just more censorship, more dulling down games, making it to the lowest common denominator to sell the most copies, and you know, games are going to suffer. I mean, this is not how you make art, and games, in my opinion, are art and should be, you know, preserved in a way that the original ideas are communicated across the board, regardless of language or locality. But anyway, that's what I got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the vid. What do you guys think about all this censorship coming from these Japanese studios? I mean, is the era of, you know, interesting Japanese games coming to an end? I mean, is this going to go down the same avenue as comic books, but like reversed somehow? Like all of the Japanese games are going to be dropped, and American studios making Japanese style games are going to be like the video game equivalent of manga? Let me know in the comments, and that's all I got for you guys. If you like these vids, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you guys later.